welcome along to the Invincible podcast, coming to you today from Amsterdam as we get ready to go to our flight the morning after the night before. What a wonderful win by Arsenal. Arsenal 7. I've got to say it 3 times, right?
Why don't you say it 7 times?
I get a bit corny. 7-1 victors over PSV. The question I asked immediately to both of you, can you believe it? I mean, we woke up in the morning. Can you believe that scoreline?
Nah, I can't. I didn't see it coming. I think the most positive Arsenal fan never see that coming. I think the most positive Arsenal fan would have probably said 1 or 2-0. If anybody would have said to me that we'll win by 7 goals today, I wouldn't believe it. But it happened, and it was a fantastic performance. I'll tell you what, I slept well last night. Went straight to bed when we got in. You know, I've had restless nights when we've lost against West Ham, but that was a superb performance yesterday. And do you know what? I'm going to say this now. I've woken up a lot of negativity about on social media and all that, saying it's only PSV, it's only PSV, it's a one-off game. Guys, I know that it's not been great and all that, but when you get a win like that, just enjoy it. That's what I'm doing. I'm buzzing from it. I'm buzzing.
Yeah, I'd like to think of myself as one of the more positive fans. I'll have to admit, I never saw that coming.
No.
Never saw it. I mean, looking back in a bit of hindsight, you can see the reasons why. But I didn't expect it to click like that. But I always thought we were a great team. But we just didn't seem to have any idea up front for the last few games. In fact, probably beyond that, even before the injuries, I thought we were struggling. But yesterday, it just clicked. And I was asking myself the question, was that because everything positive about Arsenal? Or maybe, I'm not going to advocate negativity after such a big win, but if you want to look at it rationally, how much contributing factor was there because of the poor performance of PSV?
Listen, I get that, and probably you can look at that. But when we played Nottingham Forest the other day, that sort of theory wasn't used. When they were third in the league, it was just poor Arsenal, rubbish, defence good, but the attack and Arteta rubbish. Listen, I'm one of those people. If Arsenal don't do well, I'll criticise. But when they do well, I want to praise the team. And people were saying that PSV weren't that good, but 7-1 in a knockout stage, record. It is a record.
Away from home.
Because I think when we beat Standard Liège, it was in the Winners' Cup, wasn't it? I think
no. Standard Liège was 7-0 in the Cup Winners' Cup in '93, and then the other one was Slavia Prague, but that was in the that wasn't in the knockout phases. So it's a record for Arsenal in the knockout phases.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I find it really disrespectful when people. It annoys me actually, right, that people will try to downplay a result like this. This is an incredible result. If Real Madrid had done this, nobody would be saying how poor PSV were. They'd just be saying, wow, look at Real Madrid and we're going to have to face them. That's what people would be saying. Listen, we allow it on this channel. It's what we're all about. We allow honesty, right? When Arsenal are playing badly, criticise, have a go, which people have done over the last few games very, very heavily. And that's fair enough because they've been poor, right? But when you see a result like that last night, right, you've got to laud up the team. They were ruthless. They were brilliant. They were on it. As soon as that whistle blew, you could see they wanted this. They were on it, right? Everybody to a man was brilliant out on that pitch. And let's have it right. PSV, right, in the last round, they knocked Juventus out. Juventus are one of the heavyweights of European football, right? They're not, Juventus are not fighting relegation in Serie A. They're up there, not about to win the league or nothing, but they're up there around about the top 3-4 in the division. They're a good side with very, very good players. And they took them apart here. I remember watching that game. They took them apart here, right? Let's also get context of this, right? There's a festival going on in Eindhoven over the past few days. They are up for it, all their fans. Flags waving. I was even watching some of the highlights this morning, right? Every person who went into the ground had a flag, including Julian took one of them flags. Couldn't believe that. I was going to knock him out when I see him do that, right?
I got rid of it pretty quickly.
Right? But everybody was waving these flags. I mean, the atmosphere before the game was pumping. To come away from home and score 7 goals in the Champions League against a Champions League team, right? I'm sorry, that is an incredible, incredible result. And I remember before the game started, I turned around to Cecil and I said, Cecil, wow. I go, you see that score, Villa? I go, they went away, beat Bruges 3-1. I go, that is very, very impressive. That's what I said to him before the game started. The 3-1 of Villa, I said, wow. I go, that's very, very impressive to go away and beat Club Bruges 3-1, right? But this is more impressive. 7-1, and PSV are a way more established team in the Champions League, right? And also, let's not forget the pressure on these players and manager for this game. This is our season. We go out here, we get a negative result here. It's literally done. The pressure building up to this game, following the West Ham game, following the game the game against Nottingham Forest, and all the negativity around Arsenal. The January transfer window and that. You tell me if that game is not extreme pressure. Come on, man. Anybody moaning about this, maybe you should change and watch another game.
Listen, I get it, there was pressure on the game and everything like that. And if we'd have lost 1-0 or 2-0, there would have been, same things would have come out. Oh, Arteta this and Arteta that. It didn't. For me, it doesn't change. I don't think that we'll win the competition.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I'll be really honest about that result. When you put it in the context and that, people are going, we've won 7-1, we're going to win the Champions League. No, I don't think that we are.
Don't say that either.
But what I'm saying is, we've had some tough times. West Ham was tough. So when it comes to coming over here and winning 7-1, which I never expected, I would have been happy walking out of here today with a 0-0 draw. To come here and win 7-1, I'm going to enjoy it and because there will be, disappointment along the line, and I will be hurting when that happens. So when we win and get a result like that, not only the win today, the performance, every single player was where I expect him to be. The expectation is a big thing for me. I expected us to play like that, and the performances of those players yesterday, it should be lauded, and we as fans should be lauding it.
Yeah, but if you just want to look at the we won, and football fans usually are quite polarised, as you said. If you lose, people criticise. If you win, everyone lauds it up. And if we just want to kind of laud it up, then that's great. We can enjoy it and keep it quite basic. I prefer to kind of look into the reasons why they actually won that score, because I didn't see it coming. None of us saw it coming.
No.
So I think it's quite important to understand, or try and understand, what happened, because things don't happen spontaneously without a reason. And there had to be a reason for that. And I do think PSV and the way that they set up,
that's a great point.
That had a contributing factor.
Called it before the game.
Yeah, that they actually allowed Arsenal's play. You look at the teams that we've struggled against, including Leicester, they all played in a certain way. So I think what it's done, it's highlighted a couple of things. First of all, that we are still a great team. We haven't become rubbish overnight. It's not been that polarised. But we still also probably have the issues. Nothing's been proven about can we break down a low block, because we didn't face a low block last night. And what it showed is that when we're given the opportunity, we can still play football at the highest level. But what's going to happen if the other Madrid team, Atletico Madrid, get through, that play in that kind of way? Because we're going to face a team potentially that plays in a similar style to the teams we've played against, but at a far higher level.
Yeah. I'll tell you what though, right? Like, I called this before the game, right? I said that this may suit us in this game, because they're not going to be able to just sit in for the whole game, right? They need to take something positive back to the Emirates. It's over 2 legs. So the dynamics is different. They can't just sit there deep and say, we'll take a 0-0 and that's it, move on to the next game. They need something out of this game. But I feel that actually, if you actually watched how they played, they weren't all out attack. They weren't all out attack at all. It was what it was is that Arsenal, the way Arsenal, they were sitting deep. They weren't pressing us. They were sitting, if you watched it, they were sitting deep. They crowded the midfield, a bit like what, Forest did. They only had Luke de Jong up front, right? That was it. But what changed the dynamic of that game, and this is what the beauty of when you get over 2 legs, is we scored early. We scored one, and then all of a sudden now that psyche has got to change a bit because they need something. They now need to get a goal. Once we got that second goal, they have to go for it, or you're going out. Because, if you come back to the Emirates and you're 2-0 down, you're out. So it was the bravery of our performance that I think needs to be highlighted yesterday, right? Because we were brave right from the start. We were on them, bang. That's what we didn't do against West Ham. Otherwise, I'm not saying 7-1, but we have beaten West Ham 5-1 this season. We have, if you actually look at it, right, because I was analysing this, some of these teams that have gone for the low block, if we've scored early, it's been a different outcome. Because it changes the whole dynamic. When teams have got a lot to hold on to, then that's when, it's a real problem. And I thought yesterday, the thing that I really want to applaud with Arteta and with the team right from the start was the bravery of the team. They're under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're under a lot of pressure. And they did ride a little luck because remember at 0-0, they had that chance where, they hit the crossbar. But after that...
And the other thing that we got a little bit lucky with, it evened itself out, of course, the season was the potential sending off.
Yeah. You know what, right? I watched that back this morning, right? I think he
up with the time.
Yeah, no. I think he was very, very unlucky with that. I don't think that was the first yellow. It was a yellow.
The first
so he deserves to get a bit of luck.
The first one was a little bit harsh.
What a yellow. First one was never a yellow.
So he sort of dragged into it a little bit, but the one thing I will say about going back, the speed of that was for me the speed of our play was very good. And Julian's been a big thing of this with the cup competition and all that. I don't care how good you are. You still have to have a little bit of luck. If that goal goes in and he should score.
He should
score. I've watched it.
If you watch it back, right? If you watch it back, he
Gabriel
should score.
does well.
But Gabriel does brilliantly.
Well.
He goes to put a block in, which then means that he tries to lift it.
Yeah, lift it up. But that's good defense. He should score. It could go anywhere after that. You need to have a little bit of luck in football. Like that could have been a different. As you said, it was a little bit hostile. Not hostile. It was a good atmosphere in there. But
friendly.
But if they score that goal, that gives them a massive lift. We go up the other end and score, and we had the Declan Rice one, which was offside. But we looked like all of a sudden I was sitting there thinking, "Oh, this is going to be a 0-0," and then all of a sudden I thought, "Oh, hold on a minute." We look a little bit different today. We look a little bit sharper. We look a bit like this. We got the goal that was offside, and then. From that moment on, 10 minutes was it 10 minutes? We was 2-0 up. You got to say fair play, but you do need that little bit of luck. And I have to say, I think it's a sending off. If he gets sent off, I'm not saying we wouldn't have lost the game or we was 2-0 up at the stage. We wouldn't be winning 7-1.
It's different dynamic. But you're quite right. They weren't attacking. They weren't all out attack, and they did crowd their midfield. What they did, they left space behind, which we've been able to exploit. But the other thing was actually the efficiency in front of goal, which people have been criticising. I think if you look back at the 11 games that Arsenal have lost, they've had a very low ratio of shots to shots on target. So whereas yesterday they had 15 shots. I think it's like in those 11 games, they had less than 28% ratio of shots to shots on target. So they might have been having shots, but they just weren't, it was just totally inefficient. Whereas yesterday, I looked at the stats, we had 15 shots, 8 on target, 7 goals. Yeah. So the efficiency was incredible.
And I think the key to yesterday is the speed in which we moved that ball, man. We were just popping it around. it was an absolutely brilliant performance. And I go back to it, to do that in the Champions League, right? Otherwise, then why hasn't it been done every week in the early rounds when some of the other teams were in it? When your young boys and teams like, why didn't people be doing that? If City would have done that yesterday, which they've done things like that in the past, everybody'd be lauding it up. So, for me, this performance deserves a lauding up. It's not we're going to win the Champions League. It's not anything getting carried away. I like what Mikel Arteta said at the end of the game. We'll deal with the second leg. Don't. Get that done as well. But the position we're in is very, very strong. And anybody who faces us, whether it be Atletico or Real Madrid, are going to be wary of a result like that. Yeah. They're not, I'm not saying that they're not going to think they can beat us because they're very, very good sides with elite players. But I think it's just a little reminder that, hey, Arsenal ain't going to be no pushover in this competition. And I said it last night. The last time we got to the final, we weren't playing as well in the league as we are now.
No.
Right? How we actually went all the way. Competitions, the dynamics different. It's different. You could you could get a Real Madrid even, and it goes to penalties, and you go through, like, how many times the teams win this competition on penalties, or even go through on penalties? Nobody,
The other side of it is, and I think it's a key thing now, is that for Real Madrid, more so, they've had to beat Manchester City. Now they're playing Atletico. Like, they might be getting a little bit jaded with the high intensity performances as you go. You don't know. Arsenal got to relax. Nice, easier second leg, you know what I mean, like that. By the way, that the Madrid game is evenly poised. You can't pick a winner from that, But for us, we can rest a few players. I know it's further down in the competition, but you've still got other games that they've got to play, and mentality-wise and things like that. So listen, perfect night for us, perfect night.
I think that's an excellent point about the fact that Real Madrid, probably especially, are under this more intensity, that they've played a lot of big games. Now, I'm not sure what's going on with the Spanish league, but I suspect Real Madrid are up there competing.
With Atletico, sorry, that league's really tight. Like,
so they're not going to be able to rest
Barcelona
any players
top at
before those games.
No, but then they go, I don't know.
I would think that we can. I mean, realistically, we're not going for the league. We're pretty safe in for top 5, which it will probably be. So I think we can probably afford to build up to that game, whoever it's going to be, whereas they're going to be playing intense games every week.
I do feel, though, that teams like Real Madrid do thrive off of that intensity. That's why they always seem to do so well in this tournament when you get to the business end of it. Who was stood out for you guys?
Martin
Odegaard.
Martin Odegaard.
Yeah. And I think, like, one thing I would say about Martin Odegaard, please, Martin, shoot a little bit more, because you shot yesterday. It weren't the greatest of shots, but
it wasn't the greatest of goalkeepers.
And it wasn't the greatest. But if you don't shoot, it don't score. So there's that. There is the opportunity if the goalkeeper to make a mistake, do this, do that. I just thought his performance yesterday. Again, I've seen people saying, "I'll take away his goals. He weren't that great." I'm not having that.
He was. He had an assist as well.
Yeah, I'm not having that.
I mean, what more do you? I
thought he was. Listen.
What's wrong with people taking away his goals?
I get it.
I think they get to a mindset of negativity. They can't change. It's almost like a cruise ship that takes so long to turn. Is that they're not going to turn on one game. They've got it in their head. Martin Odegaard's no good. Arsenal are no good. The Cronkies are no good. The club's no good. Everything's no good. And
you can have that opinion, but how can someone look at that game and say he weren't all that?
Well,
that's
because
ridiculous.
they're almost going to prove themselves wrong
got an agenda.
instantly. So they can't do it.
I look at it, right, and listen, people are different, and I get that. Like, turn around and say, "Oh, it's only PSV." I look at it differently, and I'm not one. But what I say, I don't think you can go against your eye test. Well, I watched the game yesterday. Like, it was difficult to watch it through the nets and everything like that. But what I'm saying is, I maybe you watch it differently on TV or wherever you are. I thought Martin Odegaard was brilliant yesterday. Fantastic. And when he's been poor, I've been the first one to say, I want him to step up. So I've wanted him to step up. Probably stepped up 2 or 3 games too late, but for the league point of view. But yesterday, I thought he stepped up, and I thought it was a wonderful performance.
Exceptional.
Yeah. There's only one player that didn't really stand out. He didn't get much time on the pitch. I mean, every player you could say, played really well. I don't think there was any bad performances. Like Miles Lewis-Skelly.
Still create that second goal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You know what? I gave him a 5 yesterday in the player ratings because he could have got sent off. Right, but actually, really, I think I need to upgrade that to at least a 6 because it was a nice little assist for that goal as well. And, it was just a bit of a naivety of youth where he nearly got sent off, but his effort and all that. So I think I need to reassess that 5. I don't know, because that was I didn't realise that he'd made the assist for that goal. I mean, how great was that goal, right? The 2 youngsters, 118, 117, I mean, it's just lovely to see, these guys hailing products coming through. I don't know if you've seen that picture of the 2 of them online when they're looking at about 6, 7 years old, you know what I mean? And now they're on the biggest stage combining to score a goal like that. I mean, it was fantastic to see.
And they look like they should be there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not out of place at all. You talk about their ages, but take their ages away, they deserve to be on the pitch. The only player I thought that didn't perform, again, didn't have much time on the pitch, was Sterling. Other than that, I think every single player, including Raya, you could say Raya didn't have much to do, but when he did brilliantly, and he gives us the confidence. Quite often, a great goalkeeper they don't make great saves, but they stop the situation occurring that they have to make great saves.
By the
His
way,
handling was perfect.
Could you play Calafiori up front? I mean, is this guy's finishing?
I watched that back. That finish is.
That's a great finish.
If a striker does that, that's three unbelievable strikes that he's got now. If you Man City one, all different. The one at Wolves was a clinical finish, and yesterday's
sure, he scored more goals than Rasmus Højlund this season.
Well,
I mean,
brilliant going forward, by the way, Calafiori.
Yeah, he that was a great finish by him. The Trossard finish again, and again Calafiori
was a
combined with that
pass.
Goal.
That was
and that was a fantastic goal. I mean, he scored some great goals in the game as well. It wasn't just like 7 tap-ins. You know what I mean? There were some good goals in there.
I just got to say that I know he didn't score yesterday, but Declan Rice yesterday.
No, he was brilliant. He had the goal disallowed, didn't he?
Yeah, but he was brilliant. The first goal was a lovely cross for Timber. It come under a little bit of criticism, like people going, "Oh, he's not worth this," or "He's not good in." You know what I mean? Like when it mattered, for me, I'm disappointed with his 2 performances against West Ham, but other than that, he has been sensational for us. And yesterday's work rate. Yeah, and I'm going take him off now, getting ready for Sunday, but his energy levels, and he goes and goes again, and I just thought he was sensational in that midfield role. And people go on about this number 8, he can't play it.
He can.
Well, he can.
I mean, he made basically a sprint the whole length of the pitch in about the 80th minute. Yeah. He boxed them into their corner.
Got a corner out of it. It was incredible.
Well, he was looking to pass, and nobody could keep up.
No, he couldn't keep up with him. And I didn't think he was that fast, but he looked like he was galloping.
Yeah, no, it was a great performance. Well, we through?
Yes.
I can confidently say, Madrid, here we come.
Yeah, I mean, I missed their penalty because I was trying to look at tickets prices for Madrid after, and that was at 3-0. Well, in fact, I was looking at it after 1-0, wasn't I?
He was. Yeah. Who do you prefer? I think we can talk like that without being completely arrogant. Who would you prefer in the next round? Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid?
It has to be Real Madrid for me, for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because I've been to both grounds, and although Atletico Madrid, they are a great team, I just felt that this is Real Madrid. You've actually arrived in the Champions League. These are the games that you dream of. And the second reason is the style of play. I think it's better suited. It'll be a more entertaining game. I do look back at that Atletico Madrid game at Arsenal when they went down to 10 men after about 5 minutes, and I thought personally that was the greatest defensive performance of a team that I've ever seen in all my years of watching football. I didn't enjoy it, but I respected it. I don't want to see that kind of game again. I want to see a really open game of football.
Yeah, I'm with Julian on that. I think the Atletico game will be over 2 legs. It won't be very enjoyable, and entertaining. I think that, if I've been really honest, I think Madrid are a better team than us, and over 2 legs they'll probably beat us. But I think we give it a good go. Yeah,
I think both teams probably better than us at this moment in time. They're 2 very, very good sides. But I'm with you. I think I prefer Real Madrid.
We'll have Martinelli back by then as well.
Listen, both games are going to be really difficult, so I think I'll go for the glamour. I mean, obviously we're Arsenal fans, but it's also we're football fans as well. And to see players like Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, and at the Emirates up against our guys, I think that'd be fantastic. You know what I mean? So that'd be the glamour.
Tobias.
Yeah, Danny Tobias. I think that would definitely.
Yeah, I like that.
I think that would definitely be the glamour tie of the next round. You know what I mean? If that is what it is, you know what I mean? So maybe start booking up them tickets, Julian. You know what I mean?
We've actually gone up already.
Yeah. Before that, it all turns to Man United now this weekend, right? And that's always a big game. Despite the fact that the league's probably gone, but it's us versus them. We don't like them, they don't like us, we want to beat them. But going there on the back of a 7-1 win, the morale will be high with Arsenal. And let's not forget, Manchester United, they've got a very tricky, stressful game themselves. They've got to go away to Real Sociedad. At the time of doing this video, we don't know what the result of that is, but that ain't an easy game at all for them. They're under huge pressure to do something. They got knocked out of the FA Cup last week. The pressure turns to them. So we don't know what state they're going to be come the weekend, but now that 7-1 result leads nicely into that game for us.
I don't think it's got anything to do with that. I think Man United, they've got 2 games against Real Sociedad, and we're in between that. And that, I don't think you can realise how important this game's going to be for them, because they've got 1 to try and get into the Champions League, because that's what they're doing, and 2 to win a trophy. Otherwise, their season's done. I actually think that they'll look at it, if it's very, very tight, the Sociedad game, they might have to make a few changes going into that game, like, you know. So, and of course, we've got a couple of days extra rest over them because of that game.
2 days extra rest.
Yeah.
I think that if Man United as a club, they're not going to go down or anything like that. It's really their whole season. You know, we were talking about our whole season was on yesterday. That is completely on them with the pressure of Champions League football.
Especially the financial situation that they're in. They need Champions League football, and the only way they can get that is by winning this competition, is by winning the Europa League.
Say if it's 1-1 or even losing 1-0, can they afford to say risk Bruno and play people like that? He gets injured against us and then he's out for that game. He's going to have some really difficult decisions to make.
Yeah,
lovely.
I've looked at it this morning. Man United done a little bit of research, and it isn't difficult because we watch Man United anyway. It's not one of these teams that we just sort of look at a few days before we play, because I've been enjoying their season pretty much every game. It's been a great season to watch Man United. But there's probably only one thing that I can think of that will trip us up, and that's a little bit of arrogance that we'll go into. We'll look at them in 14th. We'll look at them, the fact that they've also got injuries, some of their best players. The player that probably has caused us more problems this season, the winger, Ahmad, he's out. You've got Kobe Mainu that's out. Obviously, I think they're in 14th. They're not playing well. Confidence is low. Everything is against them, especially with this team.
Julian,
However, arrogance
they always
can trip us up.
Not just arrogance, they step up against the better teams. Like, so, you know, how they play against, I don't know, Wolves is not how they play against us, right? Like we saw, they, you know, in the FA Cup, we didn't beat them, right? You know what I mean? They've beaten City. You know what I mean? They got a draw against Liverpool. You know what I mean? So they're that sort of team that when it's a bigger game now, and that's one of the reasons their fans have been so upset with them, is that they manage to pull out sometimes some big performances against the big sides. So it's not just an arrogance thing. We're going to have to play well in this game to win it.
But it's not a big game for them. They're in 14th, as you said. They're not going down. They're not getting Champions League football.
It is a big game for them, Julian.
It's not.
It is. You tend to say this a lot, right?
In relation to what they've got either side of them,
if you're a Manchester
it's not their biggest game.
It's not the biggest game. It's a big game for them. You imagine, right, as a United fan now, how they're thinking. Arsenal just beaten PSV 7-1. We, you know, United fans thinking we ain't really been playing well this season. We're getting turned over a lot at home. They don't want Arsenal to come in the middle of that Sociedad game, come and humiliate them up at home. You know what I mean?
Be humiliated, but also
so it will be a big game.
The
for them.
Sociedad game it's their third biggest game in a week. That's what it is.
It is a big game for them, but if you remember when we played Atletico Madrid in the semi-final of the Europa League going a couple of years ago, who's the team we played in the middle? Was Man United, and we wasn't as quite as bothered about that Man United game as we would be under normal circumstances.
Yeah. So exactly the point I'm making.
Yeah, exactly that. So
it's not a small game.
It's still a big game.
It's their third biggest game.
Yeah.
Of a
obviously,
week.
The biggest game for them.
Well, it depends what happens.
But I still think for them, this is a big game. I still think for them, you know, they don't want Arsenal to come up there and, like, you know, they're going to be taking.
It wouldn't be a disaster if they lost to Arsenal, where it would be if they lost to Arsenal.
Right? My point is this, right? They ain't going to play. They're going to stand up in that game. They're not going to be playing us like how they play certain teams that we've seen this season.
No, and the other thing is the way that they can afford to play a little bit defensive against us, and their fans will accept that. where if you're playing Wolves at home, Leicester at home, they expect you to and they're not great at doing that. But what they are good at doing is sitting in a block and making it difficult, like they did in the FA Cup game. And I don't care what anybody says, like, I want us to go up there and I want us to beat them.
Yeah, humiliate them.
Well, that would be nice.
That'd be lovely. If we went there and absolutely smacked them.
I like 6-1. It would be very nice to beat them. But at the end of the day, Man United and their fans won't be. The most important thing for them is getting to that next round.
Yeah. And maybe not getting humiliated.
Well, listen, as I said, I'm not classing that game as an easy game at all for us because number one, we've seen, like you said, us up against low blocks in the league. I reckon they're going to be a lot more defensive in that game, and it's Old Trafford, and Old Trafford for us is going to be a little bit different. I mean, we won there last year. It was a tight game. You know what I mean? So
Trossard again.
Yeah, it was a tight game. So I expect it to be tight, but certainly winning 7-1. They got Sociedad, so they ain't got no a whole week to wait on us. I think we've got a great chance of getting a result there. Julian, what's your prediction for the game?
I'd say 2-0 to Arsenal, and it'll be goals in the second half.
Okay.
Do you know what? I'm going to say the same 2-0.
Yeah, I'll go 2-1. I think it'll be a tight game, but listen, I think following the morale boost that we've had from this game at PSV, the team should be going there buzzing. Listen, we've come to the end of the Invincible podcast, so we've got a flight to catch. We've got to get back home, right? But as you can see, sometimes some of these away trips.
This has been a blinder.
Wonderful.
Yeah, you sort of had a good time around the game, and then you get to the game, you're like, oh. Yeah. But we have to say, this trip has been absolutely glorious. I mean, the weather's been nice. Yeah. Not hot, but the sun's been out all the time. We've had a nice time around. Hotel's been nice.
We were sort of having a little bit of a pop at Julian.
Why?
Amsterdam.
But you come up trumps.
Yeah, we've been in Amsterdam, 2 cities. We stayed in Amsterdam. We was in Eindhoven. They've been having the carnival in
carnival
Eindhoven as well.
Brilliant. It was unbelievable yesterday.
Julian's been going on ferry rides, and for Julian's last trip, I think this has been
this is not my
really,
last trip.
really good. So
Julian,
it's been fantastic having you on these trips, but what are you going to do in the future?
Well, I'm going to be on the trips. I will be in Madrid, so it's up to
you.
Who with? I'm going to be with Lee. I'm going to be with Joe.
Are you going to be with you?
No. I'm going to be with Cecil.
Are we going to give him one more?
I'm going to be with you.
We're giving one.
It's 7-1. We're going to give him one.
And
Joe,
also,
what do you reckon?
the way he's organised everything, the hotel has been superb.
Actually, it was a good hotel.
The flights, everything, which he does do.
He actually came up trumps. Even the car was a good car. Big up.
And I have to say, and it ain't easy doing all that. And he sort of does.
So should we give him one more?
I think he deserves it.
One more, Joe? No. He said no.
Thanks, Joe. So
anyway.
I've got a sneaky feeling I won't be seeing Joe on the next trip.
That's his last trip.
Yeah.
And big up to the hotel as well, because they turned down the sound so that we could do this video as well.
Brilliant.
So big up to the hotel as well, right? But thanks very much to everybody also that we met over here in the Netherlands. Have been fantastic. Like even the fans last night at PSV, even though they got absolutely taken apart, they were still very friendly after the game. So well done to them as well. We'll see you back next week over in London. But it's time to catch our flights. Thanks for watching the show. Don't forget to subscribe here, and we'll be back next week for another Invincible podcast. The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.